Sri Harinam Cintamani, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Chapter 1, Introduction to the Glories of the Holy Name. All glories to Sri Gadadhar Pandit and Lord Sri Gauranga. All glories to Lord Nityananda, the life of Srimati Janadevi. All glories to Sri Adwaita Acharya and Mother Sita. All glories to Srila Srivas Pandit and all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya. At Nilachala, within his sacred temple near the ocean shore, the Supreme Personality of Godhead resides in his form of wood known as Dura Brahman. The Supreme Lord Hari descended to the material world in this form of Jagannath to deliver the living entities from their eternal bondage. He grants material benedictions to those who require them and final release from all material attachments to those who are more spiritually advanced. In this same sacred abode, the same Supreme Lord took the role of a renounced sannyasi to give his supreme blessing to humanity. Residing in Kashi Mishra's home, he propagated the only dharma needed by the fallen souls of this age, and so established the real meaning of religion in Kali Yuga. There, like a desire tree yielding unlimited treasures, surrounded by his many devotees, Lord Chaitanya distributed love of Godhead, Krishna Prem, freely to all people, ensuring that his teachings would be correctly disseminated. He had certain associates speak on specific subjects while he himself gave his blissful audience. Thus he relished Sri Ramananda Roy's revelation of the confidential sweetness of the conjugal love of Sri Sri Radhakrishna, Sri Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's explanation of actual liberation, Sri Rupa Goswami's intricate analysis of the various levels of loving exchange with the Lord, and Srila Haridas Thakur's glorification of the supreme efficacy and excellence of the holy name. One day, after bathing in the ocean, Lord Chaitanya met Srila Haridas Thakur under the Siddhabakul tree. Greatly pleased at seeing Srila Haridas, the Lord inquired from him, then embraced him tightly. His entire body went into rapture, and he offered humble prayers punctuated by shivering and tears. In a choked voice, Srila Haridas said, "My Lord, your wonderful pastimes are unfathomable, and I am but unfortunate and illiterate. Your lotus feet are my only resort. What is the use of asking such questions of a worthless person like me?" Srila Haridas continued, "You are Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has appeared in Navadvip to save all living entities. O my Lord Gauranga, kindly shelter me in the shade of your lotus feet, for only this will engladden my heart. Your holy name is unlimited. You are the embodiment of endless excellences, and your exquisite beauty draws me into a shoreless ocean of joy. Your pastimes are ever expanding. You have manifested your name, form, qualities, and activities in this material world, so even a fallen wretch like myself can relish them. It is impossible for one with mundane vision to perceive your transcendental features with his limited senses. But now you are mercifully revealing yourself for the highest benefit of humanity. This is indeed the direct display of the internal spiritual potency of the Lord. You are the spiritual sun, and I am an insignificant spark of your effulgence. You are my Lord and Master, and I am your servitor eternally. The ambrosia emanating from your lotus feet intoxicates all my senses. My only hope lies in the limitless nectar of your holy name. I am fallen. What can I say of my own volition? I am here just to execute your orders. I shall be greatly satisfied to speak the words you put into my mouth, and I will not consider whether they are right or wrong." Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is beyond anyone's jurisdiction, for he alone is the Master, Sarveshwar, of all that exists. He completely independent, being self-willed and self-fulfilled. His unrestricted desires are effortlessly satisfied by his inconceivable internal potency that constantly associates with him. This potency is a feature of his inherent nature and is therefore never independent of him. Footnote 1 by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He is known as the non-dual supreme consciousness by dint of his free will and inconceivable potency. Empirical philosophers, Gyanis, attempt to rob this non-dual divinity of his personal will and potency by postulating him to be the impersonal Brahman. But in fact, the impersonal Brahman, Krishna's consciousness minus will and potency, is the only effulgence of the supreme non-dual Brahman. Through the eightfold yoga system, yogis can perceive the non-dual supreme being within their hearts as the localized supersoul or Paramatma who pervades and witnesses all existence. But different from them, the Vedas declare Lord Krishna to be the infinite, absolute Vibhu. His energies are his attributes, Vaibhav. His Vaibhav energies are the root of all existing phenomena. Yet even in the midst of unlimited phenomena, ever expanding throughout all time, Krishna remains aloof and indivisible in his original form. The three kinds of Vaibhav. Vibhu is perceivable only by the grace of his Vaibhav energies, of which there are three kinds. They are, as revealed in the scriptures, the spiritual energy, Chid Vaibhav, the material energy, Maya or Achid Vaibhav, and the marginal energy, Jiva Vaibhav. Footnote 2 by Bhaktivinoda. Krishna's Chid Vaibhav is a direct transformation of his Chit Shakti, his personal internal potency. The display of Chid Vaibhav includes his abode, known as the Vaikuntha Loka. His innumerable names like Govinda, Hari, etc., his transcendental forms like the threefold bending form with two hands playing the flute, his divine qualities, so sublimely pleasurable to his devotees, his super excellent pastimes like the rasa dance in Vrindavan and its corresponding appearance in Navadvip as the congregational chanting of the holy names. These spiritual opulences are countless. Another feature of the Chit Shakti is the Sandhini potency by which all things exist and are held together as an interrelated whole, including the relationships of the jivas to the Lord. Similarly, the Chit Shakti manifests the Samvit potency, which reveals knowledge of Krishna, his energies, and one's own identity. The Chit Shakti also generates the Ladini potency, which gives rise to the ecstatic bliss of spiritual relationships, spiritual emotions, and their combination in the sweet exchanges of rasa, or the mellows of divine love. All of these transformations of the Chit Shakti, or Yogamaya, i.e., Chid Vaibhav and the Sandhini, Samvit, and Ladini Shaktis, are beyond material place, time, and qualities, being eternally pure and full of bliss. This is the end of footnote 2. The Chit Shakti is never affected by the inferior Achit Shakti. Even when it descends to this material world, Chit Shakti remains untouched by the inebriaties of matter. Forever spiritual, embodying the absolute nature of the Supreme Godhead, the spiritual potency is glorified in the Vedic hymns as being equal to the Lord himself. Thus it is known as Vishnupad, intimately connected with Vishnu. There is no tinge of material influence in birth, which is a manifestation of passion, nor by annihilation, which occurs in the mode of ignorance. As the Supreme Lord separated parts and parcels, the jivas, the living entities who are individual spirit souls, are originally Suddhasattva, but due to their contact with nascients, they have come under the sway of the material modes of passion and ignorance, and hence are now in the mixed or Misra Sattva category. Even demigods like Shiva, though far superior in many ways to the ordinary jivas, are nevertheless captivated by the material glare due to false identification, and so fall in this category of Misra Sattva. The Supreme Lord is always in pure goodness. He descends to this material world by his inconceivable spiritual potency and is always the controller of the material nature, Maya, who is ever ready to act as his maidservant. This is the end of footnote 3. All the planary expansions of the Lord, such as Govinda, Vaikuntanath, Mahavishnu, Gorbhadakshai Vishnu, and Shirodakshai Vishnu, are in the category of absolute goodness, supreme, and divine, and are known as Vishnu Tattva. The Vishnu Tattva forms may reside in any place, either the spiritual abodes of Goloka, Vaikuntha, the causal ocean, or in this material universe. Yet they are always the master of Maya and the supreme controller of every other living entity, great or small. Their remaining unaffected by the influence of the illusory potency is evidence of their inconceivable spiritual position. Brahma, Shiva, and other demigods are Mishra Sattva, being influenced by Maya. The Vishnu Tattva forms, their abodes, their pastimes, and all else in the spiritual sky exists in pure goodness. Maya Tattva. A river called Viraj separates the material universe from the spiritual abode. Everything in the 14 material planetary systems is Achit Vaibhav, or the temporary manifestation of matter. This place has been described in the scriptures as Devi. The material universe, including the physical bodies of the living entities, is made up of the five gross elements of earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Mind, intelligence, and false ego are subtle material elements that comprise the psychic bodies of the living entities. The psychic bodies arise from desire, yet the soul is always purely spiritual and distinct from his subtle body. He is by nature Suddha Sattva, as are his original mind, intelligence, and ego. The 7 higher planetary systems, Bur, Bhuvar, Swarga, Mahar, Jana, Tapa, and Satya or Brahma, and the 7 lower planetary systems such as Atala, Sutala, and so on, are all manifestations of Maya, the illusory potency. Chid Vaibhav is the complete whole, and Maya is its shadow. The jivas are originally complete, spiritual, infinitesimal, and endowed with a limited degree of independence. The jivas are countless in number and are in urgent need of spiritual bliss for their attainment of their perfection. In seeking that bliss, those who surrender their lives to Lord Krishna are liberated from birth and death and reside eternally in the Lord's company as his confidential associates. On the other hand, the jiva souls who desire self-importance and selfish pleasure become attracted by Maya, who awaits them on the other side of the river Viraj. She entices them away from Lord Krishna's service and lures them into the trap of Devi Dham, where they are chained to bodies manufactured by material nature. Bound by the reactions of their misdeeds, they wander from birth to birth in gross and subtle forms. Sometimes they are elevated to the heavenly planets and afterwards go to hell. In this way they travel through all the 8,400,000 species of life, suffering the pains of material existence. The Lord is the Supreme Personality, and the jiva is his tiny part and parcel. Krishna is always concerned for the well-being of his jiva expansions. In whatever situation the jiva may find himself, Lord Krishna is always prepared to grant the jiva his heart's desire, like a well-wisher who never forsakes his friend. Krishna's relationship with the jiva is eternal. He uses the jiva as an instrument through whom and to whom he manifests his energies and opulences. The Lord is the controller, the jiva the controlled. The Lord is independent, the jiva dependent. The Lord is master, the jiva the beneficiary of the results of his service to the master. In sacrifices such as the fire sacrifice, Agnishtoma, executing the eightfold yoga process, offering havana oblations, keeping vows on full moon days, giving in charity on auspicious days, and other occasions conducive to material benefit. Although Subha Karma is performed with Lord Vishnu as the presiding deity, the performer lacks spiritual intentions. He unfortunately takes complete shelter of material considerations of object, time, and place, and cannot even intuit his dearth of Krishna consciousness because such ritualistic considerations thwart the mood of spiritual self-examination and inquiry. The results of Subha Karma are material, for they merely inflame lust for more enjoyment in higher planets. Such sacrifices and their results can never satisfy the soul, the real self, because their cause is illusion. These so-called auspicious activities only avail the jiva temporarily, heavenly pleasures, diametrically opposed to transcendental bliss. If a person is fortunate enough to get the association of a saintly devotee and learns that he, the jiva, is an eternal servant of Lord Krishna, then he easily surmounts the great obstacle of material nature. This is very rare, being the result of a vast accumulation of piety that can never be acquired by the performance of subha karma, which only gives insignificant results. Empirical philosophy, Jnanakanda, elevates one to the Brahmajyoti. The dry empirical philosophers are more advanced than the karmis, for they understand the material existence to be a condition of suffering, and so strive for liberation. The Lord is kind to them also. He has given them the Jnanakanda section of the Vedas so they can pursue impersonal knowledge of the Absolute. Their final goal is absorption into the Brahmajyoti. The Brahmajyoti is Krishna's blinding spiritual effulgence and is situated on the bank of the Viraj. All the demons the Supreme Lord kills also merge into Brahman, just beyond the periphery of Maya. Both the empiricists and fruitive workers are non-devotees, disciplined to serve Lord Krishna. They can never relish the sweetness of Lord Krishna's service. Piety leading to devotional service. Sukriti, or pious activity, is of three varieties: Karunmukhi, or piety derived from subha karma; Jnanonmukhi, or piety derived from the cultivation of knowledge; and Bhakti-unmukhi, or piety derived from devotional activities. The first two lead, respectively, to enjoyment of the fruits of action and to liberation. The last leads to an appreciation for saintly association. Bhakti-unmukhi is achieved by performing devotional service to the Lord unknowingly, without spiritual knowledge. Bhakti-unmukhi is the most important kind of Sukriti, for it impels the jiva to meet a pure saintly devotee. By associating with the devotee of Krishna, the jiva's faith becomes firm. Gradually, he develops a taste for chanting the holy name, becomes compassionate toward all beings, and is then firmly fixed in Krishna consciousness. Compassionately, the Lord guides the karmi and jnani to the unknowing performance of devotional service. The Lord is an ocean of magnanimity and the supreme controller of everyone. He is always keen to serve the conditioned souls, including the karmis and jnanis. Thinking of their welfare, he provides them the opportunity for indirect devotional service. The karmi who follows Varnashram Dharma associates with saintly persons and executes his duties for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord Hari. Such activities cleanse his heart and gradually destroy the desire for more fruitive work. In its place, the seed of Shraddha, or pure faith, is sown within his heart. The jnani who sincerely seeks transcendental wisdom humbly enters the company of pure devotees and invokes their inherent compassion towards him. By their grace, he easily develops firm faith in the direct process of pure devotional service. In this way, by the jnani's indirect devotion to knowledge, he gets the shelter of the pure devotees. The Lord says, "My servant, the jiva, may succumb to the treachery of my illusory potency, but I keep his best interests in my heart. By degrees, I inspire him to develop an aversion to sense enjoyment and liberation, and then grant him attraction to devotional service unto me. I lead the jiva in his pursuit to fulfill his material desires by engaging him in the indirect devotional processes of karma and jnana, and in this way I strengthen his faith and love for me." Lord Krishna is most compassionate. The indirect devotional paths are but a hint of his causeless mercy. Without his loving intervention, how could the jiva ever become purified? The indirect processes have deteriorated badly in Kali Yuga. The Satya Yuga sages who took up the process of meditation were personally purified by Krishna and given the treasure of devotional service. In the Treta Yuga, the same spiritual success encrowned those who flawlessly performed opulent sacrifices to satisfy the Lord. In the Dwarpa Yuga, he granted devotion to those who had adhered to the path of perfect deity worship. With the advent of Kali Yuga, Lord Krishna saw the dreadful condition of the jivas and relinquished all hope in the processes of karma, jnana, and yoga. People in the Kali Yuga are short-lived, always harassed by disease, and are born with a weak body and mind. The observance of Varnashram Dharma and the cultivation of Sankhya philosophy, yoga, and empiricism will not yield the strength humanity needs to redeem itself. Footnote 4 by Bhaktivinoda. In Kali Yuga, the indirect devotional paths of jnana and karma are extremely narrow and hazardous. They are intended to lead one to the shrine of devotional service through either the association of saintly persons during philosophical discussions, or by the ritualistic offering to the Supreme Lord of the results of work performed without desire. In Kali Yuga, both paths have become contaminated. Genuine saintly persons, now rarely seen, have been displaced by crass, commercial pseudo-spiritualists. Religious duties are no longer performed for purifying the consciousness, but for enjoyment of the material results of the rituals. Therefore, these secondary paths are no longer beneficial. Even the process of deity worship, that gave the highest spiritual success in Dwarpa Yuga, has become impure and degraded. This is the end of footnote 4. The prime process, chanting the holy name. The Lord, considering the jiva's welfare, descended in Kali Yuga along with his holy name to propagate the Yuga Dharma, the religion of this age. By taking up the Yuga Dharma, the jiva attains love of Krishna. He has only to remember the Supreme Lord's name, Namasmarna or Japa, and chant the Lord's name congregationally, Nam Sankirtan. The holy name is both the means and the end. The only method or means, sadhana, in this age is the holy name of the Lord. The only goal, sadhya, to be attained in this age is Krishna Prem. Even in the stage of perfection, the name is not given up, but is chanted all the more, for it is intrinsic to the activities of Prem. Indeed, the name is not different from the Lord. It is the very embodiment of Prem. If the means is the end, then the end and the means never contradict one another. If process is identical to the objective, then it is easy for the jivas to attain the desired goal of life, Krishna Prem. By the mercy of his holy name, Krishna easily delivers the jivas in this age of Kali. Footnote 5 by Bhaktivinoda. In karma and jnana, the sadhana and sadhya are in conflict. The only real goal, or sadhya, of the Vedas is to attain the mercy of the Lord. As one approaches the goal via the paths of karma and jnana, they vanish, being impermanent. But nam sadhya already exists in nam sadhana, for the Lord is forever identical to his holy name. This truth is known only by great good fortune. End of footnote 5. Srila Haridas, the incarnation of Lord Brahma, fell at the Lord's lotus feet with tears cascading from his eyes. His body heaving with sighs, Haridas declared, "I am extremely fallen and am much engrossed in material life. Being the rascal I am, I never chanted your holy name." Only those persons who appreciate Lord Hari, his devotees, and the devotional service can take this Harinam Cintamani to heart.